Welcome to the You Go First podcast. This is the place where we bring together thought leaders, business pioneers, personal development gurus, and just about any person we discover that will inspire and compel you to go first in all areas of your life. Please welcome keynote speaker, philanthropist, and the official head dream chaser for Odyssey Teams, Inc., our host, Lane Hensley.
All right, good morning. Hey, Rick, you go first.
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 All right, I'm going to go first, buddy. All right. So welcome to another installment of You Go First. I'm super excited to have my friend Rick Minniefield here, who has been kind of a mentor to me. Odyssey Teams started about 27 years ago, and that's when I met you. And you were living in Chico here. I know you live in the LA area now. And so I want to introduce our guest today is Rick Minniefield. Again, so welcome, Rick.
Thank you, Lane.
All right, we're going to dive right in. I know this is the first time you've been on a podcast. So
Man, I'm telling you, I am so excited.
I'm really excited. So let's give our audience a little view. So You Go First is designed to help people, inspire them, give them information, give them new perspective where they can learn to go first in their lives. And I know a lot of your work has been with youth. You do corporate programs as well, and really helping inspire them through all the twists and turns of being a young person or being a grown-up, being a parent, maybe managing kids in crisis. I know you work a lot with kids that are in crisis. And in those 27 years, we've got to collaborate on a program all of those years called Reach for the Future, which has been just an absolute honor. I mean, that must be in the ballpark of 9,000 plus kids that have been through that multi-day program that you lead. Got to be pushing 10,000. Some of them are old now. Some of them are like 37 to 40 years old now, by the way, buddy. So that's just an honor. I mean, we're working hard to have generational impact. And I know even after 24 or 5 years of you doing this, you had some major events happen in your life. I know you had a heart attack in 2015.
Yes.
Scary stuff. I know that you then, the following year, you went next level and had a massive stroke.
Man.
Woo, body blow, knockout, and but you weren't knocked out, you really regrouped. I know you lost a lot of your speech, and as a keynote speaker, that's a scary thing, and providing for your family and your 3 kids. How old are your kids now anyway?
I have a junior in high school. Caden's 16. Rylan is a freshman in high school, man, and my darling Michaela, she's 10 in 5th grade.
Wow. And when you said darling, I thought you were going to be talking about your wife. So you throw something in there. How long have you been married?
20 years.
Wow.
But with her for 27 years.
Congratulations.
Man, thank you. Thank you.
Gene and I have been together now 26 years, married, and 27. So right around the same time. So weird that, and our lives have continued to intermingle because we have this just passion for changing lives. Right. But let's talk about, before we get to Rick, the keynote speaker, and all the kind of key messages that you communicate to people out there in the world. Where did your life begin? Where were you born? What was it like growing up? What were some of the things that you faced as a young man, wherever that was? So
I had a pleasure to be born in Louisiana. So I'm from a town called Monroe, but we lived in Downsville. That's in the sticks, the woods area. So I moved to California when I was very young. My mother had 11 of us. So she had my oldest brother.
We got to process that 11. Where are you in the mix of 11?
I'm next to the oldest. But my mother had my brother at the age of 14.
Whoa.
She had me at the age of 17.
Wow.
And my other brother at the age of 18. So it kept going and going and going. So
for all our 18-year-old listeners out there, so you're 18 years old, you got 3 kids, you're one of them, and now what happens next?
She didn't have a job. So that we had to depend on the welfare system. So we got a check on the 1st and the 15th every month. And that's how we paid our bills. That's how we got groceries and all that. So it was a busy household. And my father, my biological father, he disappeared. So my mother remarried to my stepdad, and it was a struggle. But I turned to leadership and athletics. So that's how I went through things.
Yeah. So, and your sport was?
Football, basketball, and baseball. Man.
Nice. 3-sport athlete.
Try to be.
You got all these little brothers and sisters coming up behind you. How old were you when your mom remarried?
She was, I believe I was 4 or 5.
Okay, yeah. That's a fuzzy memory.
Yeah.
14.
Yeah.
I don't
No. She had most of the other kids through my, I should say siblings through my father-in-law. Stepdad.
Yeah. Now, so when you moved to California, where in California? Southern Cal, Northern Cal?
Southern Cal, LA area.
Like Compton and that kind of thing? Where'd you end up?
Compton area, but pretty much LA.
Yeah, and somehow you were able to navigate with sports and leadership out of maybe drugs and gangs and stuff like that, and keep
It was challenging because a lot of my friends sold drugs and they had money, and I was a kid who lived in a poor area, so I was like, sports, drugs, sports, drugs, sports.
Yeah,
and then leadership took over, so I was like, I couldn't be a leader, right? All right, so.
Well, what a gift. I mean, you've lit that fire in so many young people. I know that. I know some of those people, in 27 years of since I met you. And I'm sure in your leadership as a young man and coming through high school and into college that was probably key for you to be that mentor that was tapping into that imagination of young people.
Yeah. And let me tell you a quick story. What really changed my life was I had an opportunity to go to the grocery store with my mom. And we got in the grocery store and we're going down all these different aisles and we're putting food in the basket and we give it the cashier number 7. I'll never forget this day. So we put our groceries on the countertop and she's ringing it up, the groceries, and she gives the mom a total. And my mom reaches into her purse and she grabs all her food stamps and the cash and she hands it to the young lady. They count it up. And she says, ma'am, you're a little short. My mom said, no, count it again. So she counts it and, she's still short. The lady asks her, well, ma'am, do you have any more money? And my mom says, this is all the money that we have. And she grabs the intercom and the young lady continues to say, we have a person in line can't pay for their groceries. I needed the manager to come up. And so the manager comes up and, he counts it and we're short and, we had to put some of the groceries away and we got in the car and we headed home. And all the way there, man, I was disappointed, but I was embarrassed. And I said, this will never happen to me again. So that really lit the fire under my butt to make sure I was successful in life. So, because I didn't want to experience something like that again.
Yeah. Our company name is Odyssey, which that, of course, which is a journey marked with notable occurrences. And it's so interesting to hear as a young man, like this one moment, I think everybody has these moments of what is that moment that lights the fire into your butt, and says, hey, I'm going to transcend what I just experienced, the kind of life that my parents provided for me. Right. And that I think is more and more challenging for young people today. So let's fast forward now.
Sure.
You found yourself in Chico. You've now started your company. What's the name of your company?
Rick Minniefield. Simple.
Rick Minniefield. There you go. How'd you come up with such a name? So creative. So, and we'll give links at the end to your website and Instagram and Facebook and, of course, your AOL.
Yes.
I'm sure you're very active on link. Anyway, so we'll put out so people can find you. So let's talk about Rick Minniefield, keynote speaker. What's sort of your main messaging that if a listener out there is like, whoa, I want to have this guy come and talk at my school or my company, what would you say is your key message that you're talking to young people about?
Probably believe in yourself. I had some different challenges in life and I continued to believe in me. I invested a lot of money in the stock market, restaurants and everything else. And I lost, I lost. So, believe in yourself that you can overcome adversity. Again, we was talking about earlier, I had a massive, heart attack. I was there for 19 minutes and came back to life. So I can't believe I'm here today, but I'm here. So let's go make a difference. Had the massive stroke. I lost, affected my right side. I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk. I couldn't write. I couldn't do anything. But I'm here and I believe that I could. And I'm continued to fight. So what I tell my audience is that, hey, no matter what happens to you, you are in control of your life. You're in control.
Yeah. Well, you know, to be a keynote speaker, you got to have, you know, keynote speaker on your name tag.
Right.
And just tell people, hey, I'm a keynote speaker. And,
Right.
and obviously some big life events happen.
Yeah.
And here you are, you know, for so many years, maybe talking about the 11 brothers and sisters and
Yes.
growing up in the kind of environments and how leadership really kept you on the straight and narrow in sports. I know you were a coach out at Butte College, I believe, when Aaron Rodgers was there, right?
Yes.
So
great time.
local boy, Aaron
Yes.
Rodgers, maybe you've heard of him out there at the Green Bay Packers. And so, you know, you found yourself surrounded, and just like it feels like all of these life events really just kept pushing little Rick Minniefield into this place where you're such a gift to so many. And along the way, I knew you back then, you know, you were a lot bigger guy. I mean, you're a big presence now, but what was I know you lost a lot of weight, and I think maybe the heart attack and stroke helped sort of inspire that. Right. What was your highest weight, and what are you down to now?
I was 450 pounds. Now I'm 282.
Wow.
And the thing about it, you know, if people need surgery, that's okay to have it if you want to do that. But my route I took was, hey, changing my life habits. You know, say, hey, instead of stopping at McDonald's and Burger King, and I'm not knocking those places. Don't get me wrong.
One of them's our sponsor. No, we have our sponsors are.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
I chose to eat healthier. Yeah. I chose to change my lifestyle, and I still struggle. You know, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I want that burger. But in my mind, I'm telling myself, hey, if you eat this can possibly happen to you. Yeah. So I'm more conscious of what I'm putting in my body.
How were your kids and your wife an inspiration for you as you face those struggles? Recovery from heart attack, stroke, trying to lose the weight.
My family's resilient. I mean, my kids have seen me hooked up to machines and all that, and thinking Dad's not going to make it. But, you know, they're my motivation, because I want to walk my daughter down the aisle once she's 65 years old. You know,
what? When's she getting married?
65. 65.
I feel that. I have two daughters, as you know, and boy, that's big stuff, you know. And I think as a father, you know, that has stuck around for your kids. And I know, like you said, your dad disappeared, and
right.
I think, you know, you're able to deliver a message to young black men that bound, you know, what kind of father do you want to be? What kind of provider do you want to be? And I know when you are really just a living example of somebody who's driven to make a difference in the world and provide the kind of family life that you maybe didn't have.
Right.
I know your mom was a real strong leader figure, I'm sure, in your life.
She is. Still today, she is.
Yeah. What are some of the key messages? What are some things she told you as a kid that, what are some of those notable occurrences that you remember from her impact?
To keep your word. I mean, to keep your word. And she's from the South, and so Southern people, you know, it's all about your word, you know. And if you keep your word and you're good to people, they will be good to you. So I try to make sure I'm good to everybody, all walks of life, all religions. Just being a good person, you know.
Give me an example of some of the most inspirational moments that you've experienced with young people or with some of your corporate clients.
One.
I mean, so many, I'm sure, but
one. I had an opportunity to do what a good friend of mine, Norm Hall, did for me. We're going to the CATA conference, and this a nighttime event where you get dressed up and all that. And I didn't have a tie or a shirt or dress pants to attend the event, so I wasn't gonna go. And he took me down to the store, and he bought me a nice tie, a jacket, a shirt, and pants and all that stuff. And we attended the event, and I was like, wow, he took the time and his money to purchase things for me. And so I returned the favor for a young lady who was going to the prom, and she didn't have a dress. She wanted to go, but she had the money. So my wife and I, we bought it, for her. So that's one of the most exciting moments for me. And I had a chance to speak at a CATA conference as a 22-year-old. I think I was the youngest speaker ever to do a opening session for CATA. So that was a highlight for me.
Wow, at 22, and you're close to me. We must be in our 50s now, right? So
I'm getting close.
Getting close. Oh, I got you beat. And as I think about, we've partnered, of course, CATA, California Activities Directors Association, and then these REACH conferences, and of all those thousands of kids that come through. I know we don't get all of them.
Right.
My heart breaks for when, a young man that we recall, and I think it's been maybe 8 to 10 years ago, ended up taking his life months after the conference.
Right.
And when you're looking out at 350 high school kids or middle school kids, not really knowing which one of those kids is in the most crisis.
Right.
Which one, their little voice in their head is contemplating, really scary stuff for themselves or for the people around them. I mean, it's a really, really powerful position to be in to impact them. When you think about the stresses kids are facing now, what do you think is our biggest stress that we need to help identify, to help kids through all the things that they're facing now?
Well, one is finding time to build relationships with them. I mean, we get so busy in our everyday lives that we don't find the time to sit down and ask them those questions. How was your day? And what happened today? Mm-hmm. Where do you see yourself next week, or a month from now, or a couple years from now? Just really having a conversation with them. Right now, I'm the president for Fontana Pop Warner, and this year I had to coach because I fired the whole coaching staff. So, man,
choices.
So
welcome to leadership.
Yes. So I had to coach this year, and what I found is it works in leadership. It works in football as well. So I had to start all over, scratch what that coach did with the young man, and bring them together, and one by one build a relationship with them. Why are you playing football? It's because you wanted to play, or your parents want you to play. Mm-hmm. So I'm building relationships with them, and what I found out is that most kids just want to be involved with something that's positive. Yeah. And funny story, Lane. We finally won our first game last weekend. Trust me, it was a struggle, man. But the joy that those kids felt, because they were over, because I coach 12U, that's unlimited weight. So a lot of those kids are heavy-set kids on at home playing Xbox and all that stuff. So they got outside to play some physical activity. So just building a relationship with them and seeing them accomplish something that they thought they would never do. So, yeah.
Well, I think, that's a message to parents as well as coaches and, of course, young people is like, how do we, because the easy excuse for parents is, well, they're on their phones all the time. They're on Instagram, I'm at work.
Right.
A lot of the kids that we're talking to at our youth programs that you're speaking with, they don't have that family environment.
Right.
They don't have that sense of community. And, as a young man yourself, growing up where your dad has disappeared and, how these kids, like, what do we do if we know they need connection and we know, parents and whoever's, helping them grow up needs to, force them to get off of their phones, off the Xbox and move their bodies, have connection. And now we have vaping, kids are just dropping dead. Like literally kids are in the hospital after vaping. We have vaping, we have medical marijuana that's now so accessible. We have alcohol and drug issues going on. Of course, have depression and suicide. And just the list goes on and on and on. And I've worked with you. I've watched you present to audiences where you're just firing on all of those topics somehow and creating these 2 or 3 day leadership summits where kids are addressing these really serious issues. And not only that, you're facilitating these events where these kids are then partnered with community leaders and having rich discussions around generational, sort of perspectives of these issues. if we look at that order of those things, which one gets you the most fired up to like spend time away from your family, stand in front of groups of people, tell your story, pour your heart out there, hoping to help them cope with, those things?
Well, Lane, I got to be honest with you. I love to listen, and then that's what young people need from us as adults, somebody to listen to them. Mm-hmm. And so if you're 100% in the listening, you can capture all the stuff they're saying. This is what's wrong. This is how we can fix it. But, sometimes as adults, we don't listen because the struggle is real. It's real. It's so much harder today than when we went to school. Yeah. We had our challenges, but man, today it's hard to be a young person. So listening to them, and then also after we listen, putting things into action. Mm-hmm. Because it's easy to listen sometimes, but what's the next step? Yeah. So the young people are providing us the next step. We're providing the next step collaborative. Yeah. So, vaping is big right now. That's where all the money is going right now because it's an epidemic. Pot, I have my own different beliefs on that, but society right now voted that in. Crazy. But young people need us, and we need to be there for them. Speaking sometimes comes easy, because you can get up there and we got all type of speakers across the country. They tell you what you want to hear, but are you living it? Yeah. That's the key. And young people know if you're real or you're fake. Yeah. And that's one thing I appreciate about you, Lane. When I see you work, man, your heart's right. Your mind is right. I can feel it. Because I see other speakers speak, I'm like, it's get your money. All right, we got it. But it's hard, man, and that's why I live by my heart. And if my heart's not good, I can't tell the truth. Yeah.
Well, I think that's why we've been in partnership for so long in these programs, and I always want to see more. When we see each other, usually we're like, okay, dude, you're on in like 15 minutes, and there's, sorry, there's not 300, there's 472, and you actually need to go for 90 minutes instead of a half hour, and we always just jump at the opportunity because it's so, great power comes great responsibility. And when the mic is on and we have the stage, there's great power.
Right.
And, like you said, it's harder. Now, it's easy for a grown up to go, well, they're just victims and they've been taught to be, they're little snowflakes and all that. But doggone, these kids are in the pressure cooker. Right. And they with Instagram and Snapchat and TikToks and whatever the next thing is, it's like, I look at it like they're forced to create their own TV show. Right. Called them. Yep. And the more viewers, the better. Yeah. And we know sex and drugs and, edgy stuff gets views. Yeah. That's watch the news, watch TV. And so they find themselves, putting these things out on the internet to try to get clicks, to try to get validation, to try to get connection. And, in a world where we're more technologically connected than we've ever been, relationship wise, we're just disconnected. Right. When we put 300 or 30 or 3,000 young people in a room and have them just have a dialogue without their phone. Right. Around why is it important for you to make good choices? Why is it important for you to step into leadership? Why is it important for you to be the one in your family that goes to college or graduates high school or gets off probation? I mean, you name it, you're in the trenches of these really tough conversations. And I just, I'm so thankful for you out there, being away from your family, doing the work.
And it's not easy, Lane. It's not easy being away from family because I miss key moments in my kid's life, but I'm sacrificing now for a better tomorrow. But if my kids run into them as adults on the street, that they will have a positive experience with them because of what the groundwork that we have laid for the next generation.
Well, I know one of the signs always in your programs would be the change you want to see in the world.
Oh, man.
The Gandhi quote. And, I don't know. You haven't written a book yet. Your book is not out yet.
No.
It's somewhere on the computer.
Hey, it's getting ready.
Yeah. And
The Life of Rick Minniefield.
The life, dude. That's a read. I mean, people would be all about that, and I hope that we're capturing some of it today in this podcast because the life of Rick Minniefield is a powerful thing. Yeah. Here you come up and you could have found your way onto a million different off ramps that would have led you into, some bad behaviors, and who knows where you would be. And yet you found yourself here. And if we never get to read the book of Rick Minniefield, I think, like you said, you live it. Like you are the walking book. You've lost the weight. You're continuing to get healthy.
Yes.
You've survived 2 events. You've been dead for 18 minutes. On that note, let's pause for a sec. Any afterlife sort of moments?
It was, I was walking to something. And it was crystal blue up there. I mean, it was amazing. And I was walking and all of a sudden I woke up.
Whoa.
That's why it was peaceful. I mean, it's trippy because my good friend Norm Hall, he asked me the first thing he said when I got, when I was in the hospital, I woke up. Hey, man, what'd you see? What'd you see?
Of course.
And I told him.
Of course.
I was walking towards something, and then all of a sudden, I woke up. It's peaceful. It's crystal blue and beautiful. So I don't know if that was the afterlife or not, but it was beautiful, peaceful.
How do you think you've changed the most after those, facing your mortality? Of course, you were a big support for me when I had cancer 6 years ago. And, people show up in your life. So Norm was, of course, there. Good friend, created some great programs for youth and obviously impacted your life. I hope he wasn't the first face you saw when you...
No, my wife.
Okay, good. He's a handsome guy, but that's... but anyway, so... how have you changed now that you've really faced that mortality? And
I appreciate relationships more, and relationships with my wife, my kids, my good friends. We speak of Norm, but Danelle and her family, Campbell. The things that people have done for me, I really appreciate it a lot more, and that my time. I don't waste time. I mean, I'm not in it to waste time with folks. I believe that my time is precious because I don't know how much time I have. So it's precious to me. And that's one thing I tell young people. I'm giving up my time for my family to be with you. So you are important to me. Your lives are important to me because I wouldn't give up this time. Now, don't get me wrong. I make fairly good money, but I can sacrifice because I can't take the money with me. So my time is worth something. You know. So.
Well, when you talk about Norm, you talk about Danelle Campbell, a good friend of ours that runs the Butte County Office of Ed in the youth programs and done so much good work for thousands of kids. And these people, like the podcast called You Go First. The idea is that we inspire people to go first in their own lives, but at the same time, look for opportunities they can go first for others. Right. And going first, like you said, to buy this young lady a dress and prepare her to, get to this next level, how she sees herself, and how Norm did that for you, and buying you a tie and getting you dressed up and really going first to see something in you that you didn't see in yourself. And just what a gift that you go first for people and as they bring you into their communities. So in knowing that you've got this path, what's next for you? Like anything got your heart pounding besides being on a podcast and getting the world more of your message? What's next for Rick Minniefield Enterprises?
Man, what's next? Really to have my kids do great in school, which they are. I mean, that's the product of them working hard and all that. But what's next is really enjoying my life, man, and make sure I'm a good husband, a good father, a good friend. Business wise, it's the sky's the limit. I feel like I have information that I like to share with folks. Maybe, writing the book.
Yeah. Well, you're living it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, but I'm enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I had a couple episodes in my life, and I didn't pay attention to signs. They were there. My doctor said, "Hey, Rick, you need to take care of yourself." But who listens sometimes?
Yeah.
I didn't listen. So enjoying. We take vacations. We get in the car and just drive. Around. I'm spontaneous now. I used to be rigid. So just taking day by day.
Yeah. Well, what a treat to get to have you in here today. I appreciate you finding your way to You Go First. It's always good to spend a little time with you.
I'm blessed, Lane. Thank you for having me, man. I'm telling you, this is a new experience for me. I'm bubbling up inside because you asking me to go first.
Oh, of course. And you answered because, it's worth capturing. The life of Rick Minniefield is worth capturing. And when people trust you and put you in front of their young people or their corporate group and say, hey, can you show them something they are not seeing now? And you do that every single time. And it's so recognized. It's appreciated by thousands and thousands of people you've stood in front of to date. And I know you're continuing to do that. So I want to give a big thank you for you being here today. I hope that people will go to your website, will find your Instagram, will follow you, and see this is just a little scratch of the tip of the iceberg of the impact that you're having on people out there. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lane.
So on behalf of all of us at You Go First and Odyssey teams, it's a privilege to have the Mr. Rick Minniefield in the house.
All right.
Thanks for being here, brother.
Okay.
All right, man. Good
Thank you, brother.
I want to thank again Rick Minniefield for being on the You Go First podcast today. You can find him at his website, www.rickminniefield.com. You can also find him on his social media handles at Instagram and Facebook, simply Rick Minniefield. If you're finding this on the You Go First or the Odyssey team's Facebook, you'll have a section below where you can enter comments, and we would love that. Or at yougofirst.live, please put a comment there, and we will forward that to Rick, and you can contact him personally. Thanks, and make it a great day.
Thanks for listening to another episode of You Go First. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you want to listen to another episode, you can find us at yougofirst.live, or you can see more about our host, Lane Hensley, on his Instagram at One Dream Chaser. To learn more about his company, Odyssey Teams Inc., go to odysseyteams.com or follow all their social media channels at Odyssey Teams. Thanks again, and we hope that you will go first to share our podcast with a friend or colleague. Now, you go first.